Where'd you get that microphone?
I get this microphone from it's a little secret. Anyway,
Okay.
welcome to Sabrina's podcast. This one is episode 4. It's my pleasure to invite Mr. Ben Holt again.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
So, let's just start the topic today. So, before the topic, you guys know Ben is a jazz guitar player in Taiwan. He's the top 1 or maybe top 2, I don't know. So the question is like the last guest, Alice, she left a question for Ben. So are you ready for the question?
Ready. What's the question?
The question is, what do you think about England? Haven't been there?
Does the airport count? I've been in the airport in London. Does that count?
No.
No, it doesn't count. Okay. I've never been there. What do I think about London? Well, being Canadian, we always have a little bit of a connection with England. We always feel like we're, related still in some ways, maybe a cousin or a younger brother. My grandparents, they always followed the monarchy, the king and the queen, etc. So we always had that in our consciousness. But yeah, as far as like the actual place, I think of gray and rainy.
That's awesome. I also answered the same, like gray, but I do like England. The people there and the architecture look very nice. I will let Alice know, but she has to watch this episode. So, the weather is recently is pretty nice in Taiwan, but still pretty hot. Um, well, a good news is like I got a new pet. It's a frog. So, what do you think about frog?
I think it's funny how much you love that frog.
Well, it's just there, and I need to feed him or her. I don't know his gender. So anyway, I have to feed it like once a week. That's pretty dope. So, anyways, talking about pet or like they look like students, like little kids. So we both have the same experience of teaching. So, what is your experience of teaching, or like what is your management of teaching?
My experience of teaching, um, I remember my first teaching experience. I was teaching like kids after I finished my music degree, teaching kids guitar between the ages of 6 and like 20. And then eventually I got a job teaching in a college, teaching music in college, and then now here in Taiwan I teach at the Taipei European School and privately at a couple other places. And yeah,
Sounds like the age of your student is very wide. So for me, for example, like I teach elementary school students, and also I taught before like adults and younger kids, but I still like like the age. My favorite age is like 8 to 12 or like adults, because for me they are, they understand what you're saying. They won't break the rules. Kind of like I like that vibe. What do you think about teaching for different ages?
well, yeah, what I'm learning is that it's just such a different skill set. To teach a 4-year-old is way different than teaching a 12-year-old. What is different than teaching a 20-year-old, etc. When you are a senior citizen, 60-year-old is going to be way different. So being flexible and having different approaches for each age group, I think, is really valuable.
That sounds very interesting. What is your approach for like little kids or like adults or like for teenager? What's that? We need to know. We need to learn.
Okay, well, this is something that I'm just trying to figure out now as well, how to be adaptable to these different age groups. And one of my specialty is teaching adults to play jazz. So people that can already play music and they're already mature, and then I can help them in a very specific way, and I can help them very quickly to improve. But yeah, it's like to teach a younger kid, like a 5-year-old, it's a totally different thing. One thing is I think that when you're teaching people that are older and they're already advanced, like motivation is already set. They already have their motivation, so you can challenge them, and you can do things that actively demotivate them. It's not going to matter because they're already motivated. But with like a 6-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, motivation is the most important thing. So the question is, how can I keep this kid motivated? That's more valuable than challenging them.
And also like as a teacher for us will be like if we can see their improve, that's our achievement comes from.
Right.
and then we have to figure out how to motivate them. For little kids, my experience, like, you have to set a goal for them. They don't know what's their goal. They don't know why do I have to learn this music or this idea or this knowledge or the skills. So maybe you can try to, play the game for them. They'll be like, oh, it's a game. And then once they started, it will feel like, oh, okay, if I want to win again, I have to learn this skill.
Mm.
So that will help them to keep their motivation. But for adults, it's totally different.
Mm.
Because like they want to do this, so they pay.
Right.
So they will keep their motivation because they need to pay. So they're totally different. For adults, they will ask the question. But for kids, it's like, I don't know why should I learn this. As a teacher, you have to let them know. You have to guide them.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I've also found that like how you lead them changes too. So with an adult, like they might lead you. You might ask them, "What do you want to learn?" And they might have all these ideas, and you can help guide them based on what they're interested in, and they're kind of leading the direction in some ways, and you're helping them. But with a kid, it's like 100%. You have to lead them. And so as someone who specializes in teaching adults, I don't really like the idea of just like forcing things down people's throats. So with a kid though, I don't really want to tell them like you got to learn this right now. This is what you got to do. This is what we're doing. But in fact, with a 7-year old, it's better to do that, give them a clear path, and then make it fun as opposed to letting them guide themselves because they don't really know.
Exactly. I will say, you know, educator is a chance giver for students.
Mm.
We're not only, input the knowledge for them all the time. We have to guide them. We have to provide, create the chance for them to
Chance
learn.
giver.
Yeah, chance giver. We're a chance giver. So, question for you:
Okay.
do you like to teach?
Of course I do. Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. But that chance giver idea, I've never heard that before. That's a really good idea. It's like let me think about that for a second. It's like the idea of like I'm gonna create opportunities for this kid and I'm going to give him a chance. You can explore this, you can explore that, you can go down this path, and I'm going to give you the chances to do that. It's a cool idea. I like that. Good. But yeah, do I like to teach? Yes, 100%. I love it. It's so rewarding to see your students enjoying music and appreciating and being engaged and then also improving. It's just very, very rewarding. And as a musician, like when you're just performing live music all the time, you don't have that same sense of like I'm working to help this person grow. I'm benefiting other people in a very direct way. So with teaching, you really get that, and it feels really good.
Yeah, but it's not easy to be a teacher. Sometimes you feel low, like when you can't help them, like when they don't want to listen to you. That moment you feel like, what am I doing right now? Like, how can I do? Should I change my job? But listen, let's listen. Once your student appreciate that, once your student want to learn more, you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna keep going. Yeah. So I think today the conversation is very valuable for someone who don't want to be a teacher, so like someone who wants to quit their job as an educator. Well, we'll say just like a roller coaster. Sometimes you feel good, feel high, sometimes low, but it's
Just like
okay.
any job. Just like any job.
So it's just like the same. It's the routine of the podcast. So what did you learn today?
What did I learn today? I relearned over and over again the importance of getting the important shit done at the beginning of the day and then having fun later. It's very valuable.
That's very cool. Yeah. So, I learned a lot about, recently about teaching. So that remind me, like this episode remind me about my experience before I taught a student. He or like they are like autism and Asperger. But you just try to use different ways, and then you will ignite their interest, and they will try to learn more from you, even though they have their problems, and you will see their potential ability, and that's so beautiful as a teacher. That's why maybe your kids that he or she doesn't like music, but they will like sports, they will like different areas. So chance giver is for educator. You can guide them, teach them. That's why we are in here. Yeah. So any question for next guest?
Next guess. Okay. If you have okay, 2 questions. Are you a teacher, and if so, what's your biggest tip on how to be a better teacher?
It's a two question.
Yeah. Are you a teacher, and if so,
Ah, got it. We'll see. I'll figure out the next guest. That would be
You have to
interesting.
get a teacher now.
That's no problem for me.
That's right.
All right, thank you for listening, and thank you, Ben, for coming today. See you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.